hearings. Number 955, establish 250 parking spaces in front of 403 Essex Street. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of that? Anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
Make a motion to approve 955, 2 spots in front of 403 Essex Street.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve number 955, establishing 2 15-minute parking spots in front of 403 Essex Street. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? And it's a vote. Number 956, establish 4 15-minute parking spaces in front of 391 and 395 Essex Street. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of that? Is anyone here to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve 956.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve number 956, establishing 4 15-minute parking spaces in front of 391 and 395 Essex Street. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? And it's a vote. Number 958, establish no parking at 46 and 50 Hacker Road. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Anyone here to speak in favor? Is anyone here to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve 958.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve 958, establishing no parking in front of 46 and 50 Hacker Road. All those in favor? Those opposed? And it's a vote. Under new business, we got 961, establish resident parking only on Rita Terrace. Do we have a letter or something?
Email from Michelle Waterman Williams.
Sure, Michelle.
From 1 Rita Terrace. And she's
And
here.
also Mr. Calderon, he's at from 2 Rita Terrace.
Okay.
So the both of us are here.
All right. So they sent me an email, and I'll just read it for the record. A couple of weeks back at the City Traffic Commission meeting, I spoke with Councilor Sear regarding an ongoing issue related to parking and parking where the snow bans on, when there are snow bans on Rita Terrace. It was explained to me that I could petition the Traffic Commission and the City Council for resident parking. I, Rochelle Waterman Williams, homeowner at 1 Rita Terrace, and Tulio Calderon, homeowner at 2 Rita Terrace, would like to petition the city to consider and enforce resident parking only on Rita Terrace. Rita Terrace is a small terrace with just 2 homes, each with 2 vehicles per residence. The terrace is approximately 100 feet long, 25 to 28 feet wide, and at any given time could have additional 5 to 6 cars parked along the sides of the terrace, mostly by Jackson Street residents. I've owned the home now for the past 3.5 years. With my experience related to parking is less than desirable, but more intolerable during the winter months, especially during parking bans. 1, residents on Jackson Street park on Rita Terrace to avoid on-street parking. This clogs up the entry on both sides, lining the street to our residents. The terrace is only about 100 feet long. See attached images. Displays an approximate plow path that happens when cars are parked on both sides. Obviously, this is light snow example, but imagine when sides are filled with cars parked. Sometimes cars just park there because it's convenient for them, but sometimes when we try to turn it onto the street, to the end, we have to squeeze through. 2, the visitors for the mosque on Essex Street also park on the terrace and down Jackson Street, especially during holidays and peak religious activities. 3, during the winter months, Jackson Street residents do not adhere to parking bans. Instead, they park along both sides of the Rita Terrace, making it difficult for the plows to clear the entire street. Instead, they have to back in and clear out about 8 to 10 8-foot middle strip. Car owners then later come out to dig their cars out, leaving snow and ice in the middle of the street. This is a safety risk. I've attempted to ask these car owners to please not park during snow bans and have been told to mind my own business. In some other language. I have tried to explain the issues of safety, the issues of having an improperly plowed access to our residents. They just don't care. In my opinion, I shouldn't have to argue with these neighbors on the issue of adhering to parking bans restrictions. I've called the DPW to report on at least 2 occasions and have called the police to try and get enforcement during storms without success. When the terrace is clear from all the cars during a snow ban, the plow is able to effectively plow the left, middle, and right sides of the terrace, making it snow-free and safe for travel. There are 2 parts to this request: resident parking only for Rita Terrace, including enforcement, and enforcement of parking bans during snowstorms. The request is long overdue, and I hope the board or city council will take immediate action. I've attached some images for your review to give an idea of what I'm talking about. Me and Mr. Cauldron are happy to discuss this further. However, we are hoping to get this resolved soon, at least before the first major storm. And it's signed Rochelle Waterman Williams and Tulio Cauldron.
I mean, obviously you explained it all out. Is there anything else you want to just add to it?
I know you have an attachment. I just want to clarify a couple more things. I said it was 100 feet long. I think I heard one of you gentlemen said you used to play on that street.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
actually more like 60 to 70 feet. And the houses that are surrounding that, just that end of that terrace there are, shall I use one to refer to? The house that's on the left, 33 Jackson, they have 2 cars, and they have like a little inlet that they created up from the terrace that kind of still allows for that path to have clear plowing, so they can pull into that. That's really not an issue. The residents at 39 Jackson Street have about 4 to 5 vehicles for that single-family home. They're really good, though, about trying to pull in their cars during the winter. They have a driveway that can hold about 3 cars, plus one that they can tuck in. The house at the end of the terrace has 3 cars. They do have an off-street parking spot in the back there. The woman that lives there owns that house. She has like outside furniture that she keeps in that parking space, so it's a convenience for her to park off onto the terrace instead of using her own driveway, especially during the winter time. And the house right beside hers, newly bought, it's a 3-family home for which they have 3 to 4 vehicles. And then there's a 3-family house right beside 39 that has multiple vehicles, one of which is a handicap one, that also parks on the terrace during snowstorms. They're under the impression that because it's a handicapped vehicle, they can park anywhere, anytime, no matter what. Was really the response that they gave to me about that. My concern mostly is that the plowing becomes a headache. I've saw the neighbor fall down, like climbing over the snow, trying to get out from his own yard to start plowing and stuff like that. Mr. Calderon and his family just recently bought the house there, so they haven't actually experienced a full winter yet. He's probably gonna see the same thing start to happen, and it's really hard, like when the snow is there, like coming in and out, we're set way in the back, so we got a good 30 feet before we get to our driveways. There's also a lot of, for some strange reason, maybe it's because it's the first right off of Jackson, there's a lot of turnaround activity, so people will pull in and they'll kind of pull into either his driveway or my driveway and then park their cars along the side. I'm not sure what the best resolution is for it. I mean, even if you did decide resident parking only, there's still that piece of enforcement part, and I don't know if that's really gonna solve the issue or not. I'm hoping it will at least take a little bit of some of that traffic off of that terrace there, but I'm not sure if it'll fully work. At a minimum, at least enforcement during the winter storms. If that's the only thing I get out of this, I would really appreciate that too. I didn't want to.
I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't want to be the bad guy that's calling the police and having people towed and stuff like that, so I'm kind of like in this weird position. I try to talk to them after the storm and say, it's really kind of hard for, just kind of like I outlined in the email. And they're just not very receptive to that. You know, I don't blame them. Who wants to go park? The Eastern Junior High used to be right there, but there's no parking there anymore either. And so I've only been there for 3 years, but it's very inconvenient and it's not safe.
Has anyone explained to you what happens if it becomes resident parking, as far as you and your guests' vehicles? You have to get parking passes and renew them annually and.
Right, so there is, with the 2 houses there, we would be required to have our guests have a parking visiting,
So you're-
one per household.
You're aware of it?
Yeah, one
Okay,
per-
as
yeah,
long,
one-
that's, it's just, there's, some people just say, oh, I want resident parking, and then
Oh, yeah, no.
they don't realize that there's a little more to it
Yeah,
than
no,
that.
my guests don't even, once in a while, my son will come and he'll squeeze up in between, like, the 2 houses there, because either the parking's taken up or he'll park on the street. The majority of the time, my own guests even park on Jackson Street, which is kind of, you know, the opposite of what you'd think that people would be able to come and park there and visit us, but that's not the case. Yeah, but yeah, I understand that. Tulio, do you understand that as well? If we change it to resident parking, then we get 1 visiting.
You get
No,
2.
pass-
two.
You get 2.
Per household?
For
Yeah.
us.
Oh, I'm sorry, I understood it to be 1.
No,
That's
you
even
get
better.
2 per.
That's even better.
All right.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to set that down for public hearing.
I'll second
All right, motion made and seconded to set down number 961, establishing resident parking on Rita Terrace. All those in favor?
that. Aye.
Those opposed, and it's a vote. All right, so next month
So the
we'll have a public
council-
hearing and,
Okay.
you know.
City council meeting, is that correct?
No,
No,
right
Oh,
it's
it's
this meeting,
right
just,
here, too.
Yeah.
just like the first 3 that we had, they're public hearings, anyone can
Someone
come
speak in favor
and speak in
and
favor or opposition,
Okay.
correct.
We have to post it in the paper.
A lot of time people don't. If you feel strongly about it, you probably should come.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep. Is there, whose responsibility is it to make the Jackson Street residents aware that this is even on the table for discussion?
It'll be
Just out
posted
of
in the paper.
curiosity, in the paper, okay.
Well, it's not posted in the paper anymore, it's posted on the city website.
Okay.
And then they also have a board at the city hall, when you enter it, there's a public place.
And we'll post signs.
Okay.
In the paper?
All right.
We'll post signs saying resident parking only.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
all right. I appreciate your time tonight.
Mm.
Thanks for coming in.
All right, under old business, anyone want to bring anything up?
Are you guys here for traffic commission?
Yeah, 403 SS Street.
That already went favorably.
Already passed.
So we good?
All good?
All good.
So what, are we getting 15 minutes parking now?
Yep.
Yeah, it'll take a couple of weeks.
Two
Okay.
spaces in front of 403, and then there's gonna be 4 spaces between 391 and 395.
But 3 stores over there.
Right.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right?
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks for
Good
coming
night.
in.
If no one wants to address anything under old business, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Our next meeting?
Thank you, Paul.